Oh my God, we're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. Unbelievable. We had a game today and the 49ers lost. Finished the preseason 2-1. I know there's going to be a lot of overreactions tonight. But what's up? Let's get everybody in. How's everybody doing? What is going on? What's up, everybody? We had a game tonight. I'm just glad it's over. I'm glad the preseason is over. Oh my God, there's so much to talk about tonight. The overreactions are going to be absolutely crazy. I already know. How are we feeling tonight? First and foremost, I'm just glad the game's over, honestly. Man, Mr. Incredible, look at this guy. Mr. Incredible calling Lance a bust after a preseason game. I mean, come on, that's really silly to me. There's a preseason game, and again, it's a meaningless game. The O line didn't have Trent Williams. The O line was bad. That is pretty much the biggest takeaway of this game. They were running for their lives behind that line. Penalty calls, holding calls, missed assignments. Aaron Banks didn't look good. Spence Burford, my boy, had two big penalties. Center's position didn't look too hot. They missed Trent Williams out there. Jalen Moore didn't look good. It was a bad sight for the offensive line. It was tough. It was tough. And people are gonna be bashing Trey. I already know it. It's crazy, man. Hey, Peter Parker says, here we go with the Trey sucks talk. It's so early. I already know the next 2 weeks we're gonna hear, is Trey ready? Is Trey ready? And then we have a whole week to figure out what the hell's gonna happen with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's gonna be a crazy 2 weeks of off season until the first game against the Bears. Like, this is gonna be some crazy time. I'm telling you, there's gonna be a lot of overreactions over the week. People are gonna be mad. I know people are very upset tonight. Oh man. Trey, let's see. Javale says, I really didn't have any issues with the game besides the O-line. To me, that was the biggest issue, was the O-line, right? Javale says Snead should have caught that ball, though. I mean, that was meaningless time of the game, but yeah, that basically just Willie Snead just basically cut himself off the team. He cut himself off the team. It was a very, very bad drop at the end. It was bad. It was bad. There he is, my man Smitty. What's up?
What's up?
What's up? We're bringing Smitty into the show. Just like on Instagram, you guys, Smitty and Raj here. We're going to chop it up about this game. What is your biggest take? To me, the O-line was just absolutely horrendous. But what do you got to say about this game? Let's go over this game together, man. How you feeling, Smitty? What's up, my man?
Yeah, I mean, you're always gonna let's be honest and be unbiased for a second. You're always gonna be optimistic when it's good in the preseason. You're always gonna be it's preseason when it's. I mean, that's the truth. That's just the natural way to attack something like this when you have certain expectations. But I mean, you didn't have all your pieces there, so it's not like you can fully judge it. And I think that there's going to be time where you're going to have like look at Trey's body of work. Whenever he's come out and played a full game, he's kind of struggled in the beginning of the game or not been at his best, and by the end of the game, he's already learned and played better. And so I think giving Trey a small window of time to do it and then taking him off the field doesn't necessarily paint the whole picture. So I'm not worried. I know a lot of people are going to be worried, but think about what you're worried about. If you're somebody that was excited a week ago and literally one quarter of action has gone by and you changed your tune off one quarter, that's ridiculous.
It's funny. Like, look at
You know
this.
what I mean? One quarter.
It's
Like,
crazy.
really?
Look at this comment. So Reyes says, I feel gross wearing a Trey jersey. Like, come on, man. This guy bought the Trey jersey. He was hyped up, and now he's fucking one preseason
What?
game. Didn't have Trent Williams in there. Come on, man.
One quarter? You're letting one quarter of football change whether you want to. You'd return that jersey. That person would return that jersey if they could. If you could press a button, they'd return it. You'd be buying it again the next week, though.
So
like, come on.
Come on, I'm happy that Shanahan took him out a little earlier than we thought, because I think Kyle knew if he didn't keep him in, or if he would have kept him in, he would have got murdered behind that line, man. It was so bad to see him in that. He was under duress. Like, there was the play where he throws the defender, hits his hand, the ball gets tipped. Like, come on, man. Trent Williams doesn't let that go. Jalen Moore was getting dog walked. I mean, these guys were just not looking great. Again, it's preseason, and you take things with a grain of salt. I don't think Trey looked horrible. I just think that he was getting bull rushed, and it's going to be tough for any quarterback. And you know what? I already see people out there saying they got to start Jimmy. They got to start Jimmy. Jimmy Garoppolo used to run into defenders. He would have got sacked so bad, Smitty. Like, there's no reason to sit here and say Trey's going to be a bust after a meaningless preseason game. I tweeted out before the score went out, and I said the overreactions are going to be crazy. People are overreacting over a quarter of preseason football. Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, I deal with this on a massive scale, like bigger than this, because when a fantasy player doesn't do well, like, and I've got all of these fantasy players that I'm talking about, like, I'm talking about Breece Hall doing well. Breece Hall's going to be a monster. He's had like 9 or 10 preseason carries, and they've been bad play calls. They've been bad situations. He literally has done nothing with about 9 or 10 carries, and people are already writing him off. It's crazy, man. It sucks to see someone like Dameon Pierce. I mean, I love it because I'm a fantasy guy and I love Dameon Pierce. But from a Niner perspective, I know it sucks to see execution happen. Dameon Pierce looks phenomenal. He comes out and looks great. We got the try box going.
Welcome to the show, Vlad. Yo, this is what I'm talking about. We bringing the quad box back on YouTube. Yo, well, this is. I know this was a bad night, but you know what? This actually makes me feel really good, man. We got Vlad, we got Smitty, and you got, of course, your boy Raj. The quad box is here. Silver lining. We got the quad box here, 3 of the 4, and we got 100 viewers tonight, man. Let's run it up. Let's do this, man. Yo, appreciate y'all. Vlad, you just walked in. We're talking about this game. What is your takeaway? Trey Lance, the quarterback situation, the O-line. Tell me what you feel, man.
It's really, you got to chalk it up to preseason and the starters not playing, right? That's all you can say. You got to hope that the short game didn't look very good, right? He was a little high, he was a little low. The passes weren't. But the offensive line, like, you could tell after plays were done, they were looking at each other like, what were you, like, the communication just wasn't there. You don't have Trent Williams getting everybody lined up. You don't have the vets in there. So it showed you more. If you're like an NFL fan, it showed you a lot more out of the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans were getting some push on both sides. Their depth players were pushing guys around on both sides of the line. You saw more out of the Houston Texans than the Niners tonight.
I agree. Yo, real quick, Vlad, I got Kyle Shanahan live with us.
Let's go.
Let's see what Kyle's got to say.
More there, but there weren't too many opportunities, and we got in some long down and distances, which made it tough.
Someone's asking, how about Dameon Pierce?
That's great. What I'm saying.
He did, Biddy. Just like you said he would.
It's every year here. I think we've always had good practice squad guys. I mean, some good undrafted free agents. I feel like brought in some pretty good vets for competition, and every year it's always tough to decide on those backs because, we've also gone through 4 every single year since our first year. So it's always an important decision. It's not just about the backs either. It's how they line up with all the other positions, and so we'll decide here over the next few days.
You mean cut sermon? I can translate that for you.
That's
good translation, Smitty.
Yeah,
of course. And I mean, they will. Every team.
You look sunburned too.
Roster out, and that's why people are all listening to what you guys report on practices, all of those things, so everyone can see what guys to take. And that's why this is a very tough time for people, and that's why we don't like answering many questions.
Translation: Sermon did too much dancing.
Yeah,
we get the doghouse all made up for him.
He's not a fit for the system at all.
Good job at nickel. I thought it was good today that we got him some more reps on the outside, just having him and Demo do both. So we'll get some good film here on the way back to show him there. But I thought it was a good play. He didn't quit on the slot go, I think it was. Kept battling to get there and ended up tipping it and causing a pick for Timor. So that was a hell of a play.
Yeah, Sam Womack, big play. We'll talk about him more of him in a minute.
I thought he did a real good job last week. I thought that was one of his better preseason games that he's had. It seemed like he did a decent job today. I'll have to see on the plane on our way home, but he's giving himself a chance there. Just get him more playing time. I mean, both of them need it. Just the reps, the more the better. I was trying such mixed emotions and trying to end the game so we didn't get anybody hurt, but also wanted to give Brock another 2-minute drill, which I thought he did a pretty good job getting us down there and giving us a chance to score. Both those guys were in some tough situations, though. That D-line, I thought, played pretty hard on them. And I don't want to take anything away from them. We struggled with some of the penalties and the situations we got. But I thought both the quarterbacks battled. Wish they would have been smarter with the ball in a couple of those. We liked him a lot coming in, and he's done a good job. We've had him in OTAs, we've had him in practice for a while, so it hasn't been much surprise to us.
Young kid.
I'm nervous watching everyone on those drives, not just the quarterback. Those guys usually get the most protection. But I don't want to eat my own words, so I'm just glad that we made it out of it. It's a fine line for everything. That's why preseason is important, but it's also something that I compare it to the driving range. Whatever happens there doesn't really matter. But you need to do it to get back too. So you're always a little bit nervous, but we got through it, and I think that'll help them in the long run.
He's not worried about the O-line.
I'm not as worried as people are. I'm not.
Okay.
It's not all put together yet.
A little bit that was most likely going to be like that. So that's why I was bringing Gibson. It looked like he did some good things today. That'll be fun to watch the film. We have guys who have played there before, with Hufkin some time last year, Timor the year before, and Odom's done a good job bringing him in. And so the guys who have gotten opportunities, I think, give us some depth. And Dante's done a good job for us there too over the years, wherever we've needed him. So you never want to lose someone like Jimmy Ward at all, and it is a big deal. But
a big loss.
I think we got the guys to weather the storm.
Yeah, it is.
That was a tough loss. The Jimmy Ward get in.
Yes. Yeah, I thought so. He got a stinger there a little bit in pregame warm-up, so it took him a while to get in the game for that to wear off. And but I was glad that he got back out there. I thought he played well and improved here in these last 2 games.
Yeah, he basically, yeah.
Sorry, there's lots of Jimmys on our team. Yes. Yeah, we do.
What did he say?
Carry originally.
What did he say about Jimmy?
Thoughts on Jimmy on the team?
He won't be on IR.
Has anybody said yet? I can't hear. Has anybody said it? What is Jimmy starting, or why isn't Jimmy starting?
Someone tweeted that. Hold up. Let me see what the live tweet was. I think Lombardi just said it. So he did say that Jimmy Ward will certainly start the season on the injured reserve. I didn't catch that last part, but he did say that Jimmy Ward will definitely start on the injured reserve. And then I think he was talking more about Jimmy Ward. And then he says that Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the injured reserve. He's healthy. So, man, what do you guys think? Ultimately, it's a preseason game. You can't take too much stock in it. I think there's going to be a lot of overreactions, like we said. But, again, the biggest takeaway is O-line didn't protect. The Jimmy Ward injury is going to linger into the season. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. I did like what I saw to Sam Womack. I'm not worried about Trey Lance right now. I really am not. Again, preseason. But that O-line needs to be fixed. It's going to be an issue. And again, we didn't have Trent Williams though, so you have to realize a big part of this O-line was missing. A big part of this O-line.
Yeah, you can't. How can you judge like this? If the O-line was injured for the year in this state, walking him then I'd be worried. If this is what it was, but this isn't what it is yet. I look, there's going to be ups and downs at times during the game, during the first couple games as Trey gets into his own. But Trey's proven that he while he's getting used to the NFL game, while he's getting used to things he hasn't seen before, he picks things up by mid game. So we didn't get a chance to see Trey try and rebound. Yeah. We've always seen him rebound, even in that preseason game. Remember, he had a horrible half. We got on here and we're like, And then he came back and had an amazing second half. He looked good against the Cardinals toe-to-toe at the end. The Houston Texan game, he was a little bit slow, and then he turned it on.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it. What the O-line wasn't complete. It'd be kind of like judging him, when he didn't have Debo on the field and he threw that touchdown to Danny Gray. Like, had that not gone that way, we would have all been like, okay, we didn't see everybody on the field yet, but because it went well, everybody's expecting everything to go well when not all the pieces are on the board.
Well-oiled machine by this preseason. So this is what they got to do, work the kinks out. But I want to talk about something that I was a little not happy with today. Obviously, O-line, we know that's the biggest issue, and we saw how bad they were today. But okay, so running back situation, we know there's an issue. Okay, Trey Sermon, let's address the elephant in the room. I think everybody wants to talk about Trey. There's been a lot of comments. I see it. Trey Sermon, I don't think he should make this team. He's not good enough to make this team. I know he there's no Trent Williams, but come on, man. He just looked so slow tonight. He didn't have that burst. But you can't just cut him because you put a third-round pick on him. He has draft value. This is a tough situation with Trey Sermon. I think, this is my prediction, they're going to put him on some injured list, injured reserve or PUP or something like that, so they don't have to take the F. They can stash him away and then keep all the other running backs. Like, I don't know. Trey Sermon just didn't look like he was a liability in pass coverage. He just looked bad tonight. I hate to call players out, but you got to call a spade a spade. He didn't look good today. I don't know, man. I just did not like what I saw to Trey Sermon. Y'all hit the like button.
I didn't like Trey Sermon when they drafted him. I never understood why the Niners really spend capital on running backs in the early rounds, just because the system is so built to run the system is built to run the ball so well. And their ability to find talent like Elijah Mitchell, like guys that are like Myles Gaskin, who's not even on the team. He's playing for other teams. They got him as unrestricted free agents. They walked him. They go start in other places. Like the Niners scouting department scouts running backs so well that there's not really a need to spend early draft picks on them. Now, I'll bite my tongue as I say that, because Ty Davis-Price, that guy looks like he's legit. That dude looks like he's an NFL player right out of the box. He runs with a purpose. There's no like juking or sidestepping. He's not worried about happy feet. That dude's just running down the lane, and that's what you need in the Kyle Shanahan run system. That's what they found in this dude. Sermon, maybe on another team, maybe they can,
He just doesn't fit the system to me. I don't think we talked about it earlier. It's like he dances too much. He has his Saturday Night Fever shoes on. Like you hit the fucking hole and go, man. I just want to see you hit the hole and go, man. He's too slow. He doesn't have that initial burst, and he just waits too long. You gotta take the cut and go. One cut and go, man. I mean, I like the guy. I have high hopes for him, but also I don't know if they're using him right. I don't think he's right in this. Like he always played from a shotgun position in college. He always played with a mobile quarterback out of shotgun. That was his go-to. Shanahan's he got the zone running scheme. It is a little different for a guy like Sermon. So maybe he would thrive with another team, but I don't think they cut him. I know a lot of people are saying cut him. I don't think you cut him. He does have high draft value. I know you can't just ride the draft value, but it would. One thing that Kyle and Lynch really take is their pride. They do not like to take L's. They gave Jalen Hurd so many chances. They still have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster, so I'm not going to cut Trey Sermon.
Do you guys think that there's a thought in Shanahan's head not to get rid of Jimmy G, because like everyone's going to say that? I don't think. Jimmy, if Trey fails, Shanahan fails. He can't even like go there. You know how when you say like if you have a plan B, your plan A is more likely to fail. If you even come up with a plan B, your plan A is far more likely to fail.
Yeah.
So I think that to keep Jimmy on the roster, he's setting himself up for a big monster L. Even if Jimmy comes on and looks okay or something, I think you still got to get rid of Jimmy. That's the play. And people even talking about this are It's almost a casual. It's got to be a casual. There's nobody here that's going to sit here and say Trey's garbage. Trey's a failure. Like, that's ridiculous off of like one quarter of play. But we're going to hear it all week. We're going to hear it all week. It's going to be all nonstop. It's not going to stop.
I think personally the organization's kind of over Jimmy. I think that internally they're all in on Trey Lance, and it's kind of like at this stage, like if things go bad, like if things go really south this season, and things get weird, and like Trey doesn't look good, and the offensive line is struggling, and there's pass protection problems, yeah, all right, then you got to look around the room. But honestly, I think this is just a knee-jerk reaction from seeing a preseason game where all your starters aren't there. And honestly, guys, I really do think we're like the NFL's kind of underlooking teams like Houston, teams like the Lions, like they're poo-poo teams that just get like.
I like both teams, bro.
No one looks at them. No
Both
one
teams.
cares.
Davis Mills is good.
And the
Davis
Houston
Mills
Texans
is
are
good.
legit, dude.
Mills
Yeah.
looked pretty
They're
good.
legit.
All well.
Yeah.
The second year, he really progressed from last year. He had a solid rookie year for a quarterback, rookie quarterback. They got some weapons
Especially
on the
on a bad team.
They're not a horrible team. I mean, they're not going to be a great team, but they're a team that is rebuilding the right way. They've added a young team. They got a good young team. Obviously, they're not better than the Niners talent-wise, but again, we didn't have a lot of starters in there. Again, no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa, no Trent Williams. Like, some of those guys mattered if they were in there. Story, but again, you can't just sit there and say Texans are dog water. They're better than I thought they were, honestly, and they gave us a fight last year. They beat some teams down the stretch last year. They're moving in the right direction, but as far as Trey Lance, I think we just got to keep the faith and be patient. You got to have patience because there's going to be ups and downs. Again, no O-line really to protect them today. It is what it is. I'm not too worried about Trey. I want to get to some positives because there were some positives out here. I don't want to just sit here and beat a dead horse. Again, Trey Sermon, I think that they're going to give him the benefit of doubt. You got to realize, too, he didn't play behind Trent Williams, so maybe that's a case. He did look bothered he did look bothered because he did have the ankle issue last week. Maybe the ankle issue is something that is still lingering. You know what I mean? So, but I want to get to something positive. Sam Womack has become an absolute gem of a draft pick. I'm telling you, Sam Womack, man, this guy, they drafted him 5th round out of Toledo. First game in the preseason, 2 interceptions. Okay. Last week, he picked up a fumble recovery. And then this week, tipped the ball, and Tarvarius Moore gets an interception. Every week, he's made a big time play, and he's helped cause a turnover or been in part of a turnover. This is a playmaker, a ball hawk. They played him on the outside. They played him in the slot. This guy is very nice. I really like what I've seen out of Sam Womack. Another late round draft pick. And again, it goes to sometimes they miss on these earlier draft picks early on, but man, do they hit on their late round picks, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, undrafted. They find some gems. And Sam Womack, to me today, was just another great game and he showed that he's going to be a big time part of this team. We lost K'Wan Williams in the offseason, and I think Sam Womack's going to make us forget about him real quick. This guy is that good. And the other thing about Sam Womack is he's a rookie. He's only going to I like that guy. I think that was the biggest takeaway positive wise. There was a few other ones I'll get to, but I really like Sam Womack today. It was a big game for him. I think he solidified himself as a starting corner on this team. What do you guys think about Sam Womack?
He's 23 years old. Like that, the dude's a ball hawk. That's what it is. Like you said it, he's a ball hawk. There's sometimes it happens, right? All the time in the NFL, every year in the draft, there's some guy that comes out of the 5th round, 6th round, and underlooked. No one really pays attention to him, and the dude can play football out of the box.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. He's not afraid to tackle. He's not he gets dirty. The dude, he's a good player. And to be 23 years old to step into the situation he's stepping into, what's nice is our the defensive backs in the Niners locker room there's a lot of veteran guys. Like there's a lot of guys. Like JV's a great guy to have around when you're a 23-year-old Womack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so like you have all these guys around you. D'Amico Ryans, dude, in the second year, like this defense is going to be scary. It's going to be it's going to be up to the offense to like keep up with them. It's going to be up to the offense to like keep them off the field and keep them fresh. Because as long as this defense stays fresh for 60 minutes, good luck. Good luck. I know Trey Lance is. I know it's exciting and it's the sexy thing to talk about the touchdowns and the highlight reel plays that this dude can create. But this defense is going to be terrifying.
It's going to be good if they're healthy. This defense definitely has they could be one of the best defenses in the league. They just got to stay healthy. I am a little concerned about Jimmy Ward's injury.
Yeah,
man, that's rough. I mean,
I think and hear me out. Like I really do think that if Kinlaw's healthy, like Kinlaw's legit healthy, and Arik Armstead can play the way he played down the stretch, rest in peace to the quarterbacks, dude.
You know what I think? You know what I think's really good is if Shanahan didn't play his starters this much, this could have happened in week 1. So I think the takeaway here is that these jitters, getting this offense out there, you know, kind of learning from their mistakes and kind of just getting the jitters out. I think that's going to be a lot of it. Yeah, I think once they come out and they know they're playing a full game, you got everybody there. It's going to be a whole different ball game. But it's good that this happened in the preseason because I think this would have happened in week 1.
You're right. It's good to get the Wonellies out of the way a little early because if this would have been a hiccup in week 1 regular season, oh God, they would have just. I mean, you wake up next morning, all the shows would have went for our necks. I mean, it's still going to be pretty bad. You're right, Smitty. You said earlier it's going to be a lot of people, blah 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 blah. But it's not as bad as if it was a regular. If this was a regular season game. Oh God, I don't even want to know it. I don't want to turn the TV. But moving, I want to stay on quarterback. So Brock Purdy, I liked what I saw out of Brock Purdy this whole offseason, this whole preseason. I mean, yeah, I get it. He's playing backups and third stringers or whatever. He moved the ball effectively. He looked like he had some poise in the pocket. He just looks nice. He looks like he's very comfortable back there. I think he's a good player that they're going to develop. He's a good insurance policy they have. I know he threw the pick. It wasn't, but he was under duress, just like Trey most of the game. But I like him. I like Brock Purdy. I think, though, they won't after tonight. So I was on the fence with this. I said, they're going to keep him on the team. He might have a really nice game today. I think Shanahan's going to try to let him clear these waivers and then bring him back onto the team on the practice squad. But Jimmy Robinson says Purdy QB2. I can see it. I think he could be QB2. But I think because of the fact that Nate Sudfeld is getting $2 million and he's the veteran, they're going to give him the seniority. Because you don't just let Purdy take that spot over a veteran. Although I think
if he's the best guy.
He played well. He looks like the better guy. But I think they're going to let him earn his stripes. Shanahan's going to cut him loose, and then he'll bring him back on the practice squad. I don't know. That's the way I think it's going to happen. What do you guys think about Purdy? Smitty?
Well, I mean, I'm tired of the whole, like, you can't do that. I'm not saying from you, Raj, but I'm saying from the Niner mentality of you can't do this because you're paying this guy this. You can't do this because this guy's here. You can't do, like, the best guy needs to be in the best spot, like plain and simple. And if that means cutting Sermon and cutting ties and just manning up and saying, look, he's not what we wanted. He's holding us back. Like, that's the thing. Like, when Sermon's on the field, don't you guys feel like he's holding the offense back? What might have happened if, let's say, Mason was in there and he got a first down when Sermon was dancing around? You don't even know what could have happened at that point. Like, to have him on the field, it's a liability. And he's proven. So to me, maybe you're right, Raj. You'd come up with an injury, and you put him somewhere, but no one's coming after him. No one's coming after him. So, like, it's like, at what point do you just dance around that for a while? It's like,
this is good. I like that comment. So you think they just cut Trey Sermon?
They should. I don't think they will.
Okay.
I don't know that they will. They should, because he's a liability. When he's on the field, the offense looks like it's stunted. Okay. And unfortunately, the effects that had in the game are why we're talking about the Niners the way we are right now. If Mason was on the field and got a first down or put Trey in a better position, we would have maybe seen a completion, and maybe Debo would have caught a touchdown instead of getting a PI that wasn't called. You never know what could happen, but he's a liability. And I think having Jimmy there as an eyesore, having Trey Sermon there as an eyesore, is preventing the team from closing those holes, those injuries to the roster. I just think I think I'm tired of, because he's getting paid, because there's draft capital. Like,
I get what you're saying.
Belichick would just say, "You're gone. You don't fit here anymore. I don't care what we spend."
You got to nut up and just make the move.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Get rid of the guy. I see. Vlad, what do you take? Purdy?
I agree. I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree with the Sermon take. Like, I think you saw it last year. He was like, man, this guy doesn't really fit. He's kind of chugging along. He's not this fast back that we're used to. And then everyone said this offseason, everyone said it, man, he's in crazy shape. Man, he's doing all this offseason work. He's doing all this stuff. He did it. He still looks slow. Yeah. He still doesn't look like he's built for this offense. So why are you going to pound your head against the wall and, like, put him on a pub list and then put him on the practice squad, or just like they did with Jalen Hurd? Why are you doing that? Just cut the guy. Take the L. Move along. It is what it is. People get drafted in the 3rd round all the time and don't work out.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot. It may not work out. You're right. Now, going back to Brock Purdy, do you think if the 49ers were to cut him that he clears waivers? Jimmy Robinson said.
I don't think he does. I think if they cut him in today's NFL, somebody scoops him up and puts him on somebody there's just too many. There's the quarterback need it's so, every team needs a quarterback. Every team. And then especially if you're a team like Seattle, or especially if you're a team like the LA Rams, who they're already talking about stuff like this.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you go and scoop up some young kid that just sat in the Niners playroom, looked at all their OTA stuff? Why wouldn't you pick him up? And he looks good in preseason.
Yeah, and that's what I said this morning. I said, I think that if he were to get cut, a team that really needs a quarterback, the Giants, somebody would look at him and say, hey, he's good in the preseason. Maybe we'll snag him. I think after today, I don't know why. I just have this feeling that Kyle's going to cut him loose.
Yeah.
Hope that he clear. I think he's going to try to cut him and hope favors, just because there's so much depth that needs to be on the defense. Like, there's certain positions. Now, cornerback, you have the Jimmy Ward injury. You have to keep Deshaun Gibson probably on this team now. They probably weren't thinking of it, but obviously you could put, Jimmy on the injured reserve. But you got to play that. You got to play the game on this roster, with the cuts and everything. Certain people might get cut, and they're going to hope that they can clear the waivers. But you're right. He's a young quarterback, and I think that the team might sit there and say, oh, we're going to take the gamble. I think they should keep him. But do you keep 3 quarterbacks just so he doesn't get claimed, instead of another position like a cornerback or something like that, or a defensive lineman? And that's the tough part of this roster cut. So it is going to be a little interesting. Again, I said this earlier. This is going to be probably the hardest roster cut that Kyle and Lynch have had to get to. Another guy that stood out today, Charles Omenihu, or Owenehu. How do you pronounce his name? Charles, how do you pronounce his name?
I can't. I'm gonna have to read it.
Omenihu, I think. He had 2 sacks against his former team. He's definitely going to be a big force on this defensive line. I had to give him a shout out because he played well tonight. But again, there really wasn't too many standouts tonight. It was a bad game, but it was preseason. And thankfully it was preseason, because like Smitty said, if this was a regular season game, it'd be ugly. Wide receiver wise, I didn't really see much out of many of these wide receivers. We talked about the Debo play, possibly a pass interference, but I think he should have beat that guy a little faster off the line. I don't know. I think Trey and Debo still need to figure out their chemistry, their connection. They just haven't been connecting all off season. I get it. Debo had the whole contract situation. He even said it. There was an interview before the game, and he talked about how he was like, man, I just want to get this contract signed. He was telling his agent, sign it, get it done. And it was dragging ass. And now we see, and Smitty kind of talked about this. He goes, they need to sign this ASAP. Remember we were talking about this, Smitty. You need to sign this contract ASAP because Trey and Debo are missing valuable time to work together. And it's showing, man. They just don't have that chemistry right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because like there was no benefit whatsoever to wait on signing Debo. None. It only created animosity. it only created doubt in Debo's mind that he wants to be here. So like none of it was good. So hopefully it all gets worked out. But I mean, like we said earlier, I mean, it's great that this happened in a preseason game. There's a lot of time. How many days we have left? 15 days?
17 games, 17 days. Again, I'm not worried. I learned from this, and now Trey's got a whole off season kind of under his belt, and he's going to develop and he's going to learn. Because like you said, last year in that Houston game, you give him that second half, and he really kind of stepped up and he learned and stuff. So I think he's going to kind of process this whole preseason, off season, training camp, everything, and just kind of learn from it. And I think he's going to grow and grow. But the training wheels are now off, and it's a real deal. And I don't think Kyle Shanahan showed his full hand. He didn't play all his big plays. He was still.
Yeah. And what did Trey really do? 7 of 11, no touchdowns, no INTs. Like, why are people acting like he was so awful? Like, he didn't throw INTs. He didn't, you know what I mean? Like, he was sure there was a ball or two that hit the ground. He threw a great pass to Debo that was in all of our opinions. I think Vlad, I don't know what you think, but that was a pass interference. Clear as day. There was tons of contact.
He was fighting him the whole way up.
Yeah. So I mean, like the whole this is what I deal with in fantasy all the time is when a guy is about to have this monster game, and there's something like that where there's a PI that doesn't get called back. The entire, flow of the game got completely changed. And it's like if Debo would have caught that pass or they would have called a PI on it and then they scored a touchdown because of it, we'd be sitting here from a whole different angle.
I think you're right. You're right.
Like, that was one play that changed everything.
He put that ball basically when either no one can catch it or Debo's catching it. Like it was still the placement of the pass was still good. Yeah. It's just it's the NFL.
Yeah, he did. You're right. If he makes that, if they connect and Trey gets one touchdown in that game, it's a whole different story. That's it. It's because touchdown. If he would have caught a touchdown in this game, it would have been a whole different story. I think you're right. We'd be talking differently, and it might have been a different game if they scored a touchdown early. But again.
Oh, it looks like it's just us, Vlad.
I think also here it goes back.
Looks like it's the Vlad and Smitty show.
His audio might be out. I think a lot of it too is like.
Here, Raj, you talking? We'll pretend we're you.
Are we
Hello, guys?
Sorry,
he's good.
I lost.
Somebody. Right.
Yeah, it was a vanilla offense. You're right. I lost. I got lost on the stupid. Someone was calling me. Unbelievable. Busy night.
Shanahan's got to know that too when he's installing these game plans. He's like, dude, my first team offensive line isn't there. I'm not putting these elaborate, big motion, big plays. No, he's not doing any of that stuff. He's doing the things that that in the last preseason game, he's using it to see how all the guys that are on the line to make the team, whether they're going to make the team or not.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
It's for the roster bubbles. Yeah, exactly. We're really trying to figure out the players that aren't going to make this team or who are going to make this team. We know Trey Lance is going to make team. Yeah, I know, again, it wasn't the best game that you wanted. Like, as a fan, you really wanted to go out there and be 7 for, 9 for 11, 2 touchdowns, 100. Like, that's what you would have loved to see. But didn't happen. I'm not worried. It's preseason, baby. Yeah. It's preseason.
1.5 weeks ago, ESPN, everyone was talking about how Trey was going to set the league on fire. Like, you're telling me 1 quarter of play, people are jumping ship, casuals. Anybody that thinks Trey Lance is going to bust and they think Jimmy G needs to get in there, it's casual perspective.
Crazy.
There's nothing more.
The only argument you can make is, okay, yeah, the offensive line might not be that good this year. We'll have to see. It's going to take them a few weeks to gel. The nice thing is if the full offensive line starts the season healthy, they have 2 good games where it's really there's no one on the Bears and there's really no one on the Seahawks defense that you're like, oh, this is a problem. They don't really have big time playmakers, especially pass rushers.
Yeah.
So the first couple of games, the problem is pass blocking. First couple of games, let them work on the pass blocking. Hopefully that's the gel they need to start.
Yep.
Honestly, again, it's preseason. overreact on these. And the biggest thing is they got to get through these preseason games healthy. You can't get too many injuries. They've had a few, and that's what it is. It's just you got to escape these games and stay healthy, man, because if you get big injuries in the preseason, that really screws you over for the rest of the season. So I think that was the biggest key to me was when Trey Lance, after that third series, I think Kyle was like, all right, I've seen enough. This O-line's going to get him killed, and they took him out. And that was the right move. It was take him out. Don't let Trey get hurt, man. I was worried. When I saw how bad that line was playing, I was like, fuck, dude, Trey's going to get hurt. I was just sitting there pacing. And I said to myself, please take him out. Please take him out. He doesn't need to be in there because he's going to get hurt. You're going to hurt your franchise quarterback playing behind a bad O-line. Without Trent Williams, man, it was – I get it. You don't want to get these guys hurt. But if you're going to throw Trey Lance out there, they should have tried to get Trent Williams out there for at least the series, man. I don't know. I know you don't want to hurt him, but God, man, he was getting those guys were getting dominated. Jalen Moore, you can tell he was coming off an injury. It was definitely risky, man. I don't know. I was scared. I was scared for my life when I saw that.
It's gonna look a lot different. I mean, imagine taking a big piece off of the Rams offensive line, or I think people are overreacting, but it's fine. We're gonna be dealing with this all day. Like Raj, you're gonna have DM after DM saying the same repetitive, like me. I'm gonna get repetitive content. Do you know how many DMs I'm gonna get? I'd say at least 50 by midnight that are gonna say, "So are we worried about Trey? So how are we feeling about Trey? Are we still taking Trey?" It's gonna be some version of that 50 minimum.
And you know what? I'm actually happy we're on the YouTube live chat instead of the Instagram live chat. That Instagram chat is going to kill me. They're gonna eat me alive. I'm glad we're on the YouTube. I love you guys for coming on the YouTube tonight. It's a lot chill. I feel like you guys a little bit. These are the real fans, the real ones that support, and they just really. I mean, there's been a few haters out there, but I think everybody in this chat realizes tonight it's a preseason game. You take it with a grain of salt. If we were on Instagram tonight, good night, Sally. Pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Instagram.
Except for Ray's in here. Ray's in here. Just
Ray is just ripping.
Ray, why is he here? Is he a Niner fan?
I don't know.
Season's over.
I think he's got to be a Rams fan or something, because it's like his perspective. He doesn't even know what time it is.
He's ripping you, bro. He went off.
Look at Smitty is not that guy. He's an old fancy grandpa that has no idea what real football is. Well, that's weird. That's weird, Ray, being on the longest fantasy radio show in the world for 19 years when you were sharding in your pants. He probably wasn't even sharding in his pants by then. But what do I know?
Well, he supports Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, that's the funny part. I've read that. He said put Jimmy out there one more year.
One more time.
Bro, if Jimmy Garoppolo was out there tonight against that with that O-line, you might need to have a fucking casket ready for
bro. Bro. Put Jimmy back out there. It's all right, Ray.
They should have put Jimmy. No, they shouldn't have. Then they can't get anything for him.
No, you ain't getting nothing for him anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna cut him in a couple of weeks.
They're gonna cut him. They're gonna cut him.
Yeah.
No,
the only team I thought that was gonna make a move for him was the Browns, but I really think that they looked internally and said Jacoby Brissett is as good or better than Jimmy Garoppolo. There's no need to be giving up draft picks for this guy. Just wait for them to cut him. And then eventually somebody's going to draft them, and then or pick them up off free agency for a cheap deal. Maybe he goes back to Bill Belichick.
Maybe I don't know. I think at this point in the game, Vlad, I have no clue what's going to happen. It wouldn't even surprise me if they kept the man on the roster at this point.
No.
Oh man.
No, they're going to cut him.
Yeah, I hope so.
They're either going to trade him or they're going to cut him.
Let the hate. It always makes it even sweeter, because then the people that hate, they won't be back. They just kind of vanish.
They love it. You know what? I want to get to this topic. We've talked a lot of Niners tonight, and obviously I think we covered everything. And I know it's a frustrating night because the Niners lose. Whether it's preseason or not, you hate when the Niners lose a game. But you know what? Aaron Donald, did you guys see this today? He took off He hit the guy twice. He took 2 swings with the helmet. I know this isn't Niner news, but it's a little relevant because he plays in our division, defending Super Bowl champions, Aaron Donald. What do you guys think? Should he get suspended for this? I mean, remember what happened to Myles Garrett in a game? He came after Mason Rudolph. That was horrible, man. That was disgusting, and they suspended him 6 games. Aaron Donald, you think he faces suspension or not? Practice game, tempers flared. First off, it was the dumbest idea to have those 2 teams play joint practice. Like you knew there was going to be something, some tempers flaring. These guys, the Bengals just lost to them in the Super Bowl. You think they're going to be fine and dandy playing them in a joint practice? That was whoever scheduled that knew there was going to be some fucking drama. I don't know. What do you guys think? Aaron Donald suspended?
That's assault, brother.
Yeah.
That's assault. But I don't think he gets suspended. I think the NFL likes these. Whoa. I think the NFL likes these practices. Yeah. I think the NFL has the idea of putting these 2 teams in these practices for this very reason. So, like, they're not going to suspend them. They're going to say, hey, it's August. The weather's hot. Tempers get hot. It is what it is. We move along.
A fine, maybe.
A fine.
A big fine.
But he's got problems.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL in a practice. I know the natural reaction. I could see it in the comments, especially when you went on IG earlier. It's like the Niner blinders were on for a minute. Everyone's like, suspend him.
I mean, that was nice to suspend him but he should at least face 2 games. I mean, he's going to get a fine.
I mean,
crazy. I think they need to do. I don't care if they suspend him or not. They need to test this man for steroids because he's always losing his cool. He's done it multiple times. He's thrown his helmet multiple times. He's played the Niners. There's the clip where he throws up the night he choked Quentin Patton. Like, come on,
he might have.
He got some anger issues, bro.
He might be something there. You might be onto something, but I will say a fine could happen. I think if they want to punish him, a fine. Yeah. But I don't think the NFL wants him off the field. I think that he's a money generating, eyeballs watching if he's not playing, like they're afraid of that. Number 2 is practice. If it was in a game, it'd be different, but practice, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but who knows? The way the NFL is, the truth is the NFL, you can't predict what Goodell's going to do. Heavy hand one moment, big, light hand the other. But I don't think so. I don't think he will be.
He suspended Calvin Ridley a year for betting, for gambling. And you're right. 11 games for the massage parlor incident.
Incidents.
Incidents.
Alvin Kamara, a wait and see. I had 2 different attorneys on my show to talk about the Alvin Kamara thing. That's a whole. If you guys want to get into that, I've got so much information on that. There's so many people not talking about the risk involved in Alvin Kamara still being suspended or put on the paid leave, let him deal with it, and then come back. Because if a trial begins, everybody's talking all this. Adam Schefter saying, don't think a suspension will happen this year because a trial can't really conclude before the end of the year. Doesn't matter if a trial starts before the NFL season ends. The NFL could put him on the exempt list. But if the full video leaks, he's done. Because that video is gruesome.
It was bad, bro. It was.
And he's got 2. People don't realize that the attorney for the victims of the Deshaun Watson cases that settled, Busby, he's now representing him in a civil lawsuit, which is the same thing that Watson was going through, a civil. So now there's the criminal and the civil, 2 different lawsuits for Alvin Kamara. It's not one. It's 2 different lawsuits that are now going for both those. One for the money, one for the damages and, the criminal stuff.
Tough. I mean, all these situations, there's so much red tape and things. And you're right. It's how does the NFL want to rule it? They have their way of doing it. They can fandangle around the rule books. It is what it is. I don't know. I feel like this whole situation could get ugly, but I don't think it will. I think that they're gonna, they kind of take things and they put a short hand on it, like you said, light hand, right? They kind of slap them on the wrist most of the time, unless you're Calvin Ridley and you bet on sports. You get a year, man. That's crazy. But I mean, I guess you can't bet on sports. You can't bet against.
I mean, like you gotta, for the integrity of the game, you got to protect it. But at the same time, you can't do that with a heavy hand and then come out and do a lighter hand on something that's more severe or looked at more severe. Like people like to defend Watson innocent until proven guilty, whatever. You can defend that if you want, but he still violated the league's personal conduct policy no matter what to a thousandth degree. And Ridley wasn't even playing.
It's really bad. It's really bad optics for the NFL to be like, hey, we're going to suspend you for gambling for a year, while at the same time we're going to push every state in the union to legalize gambling. And then a dude that assaults another guy, puts him in a hospital, we're going to be like, hey, we'll see what happens. It's like, that's not, you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to legalize gambling. You're pushing into Vegas. You're trying to do all these things with casinos, but you're going to go heavier on a guy that gambles than a dude that assaults someone, or a guy that sexually assaults 40 women allegedly. It's like, well, okay, I guess.
Yeah, like you said, sometimes the league, you look at some of the decisions they make and you, damn, that's crazy, you know? I guess there's allegedly a Bills punter. I don't know if you guys heard about that news. The Bills punter allegedly did some nasty, sexual assault kind of case with the 17-year-old girl. That's scary. If that's true, I don't know about that. Again, I don't know. I can't speculate. It's allegation right now. But, man, if that's true, that's ugly. It's murky. But, hey, you never know what's going on behind scenes. But, yeah, at the end of the day, it's preseason. And I'm just happy. You know what? I'm just happy the preseason's finally over, because now it's going to get real. The starters can actually play now. You don't have to keep them in bubble wrap. You don't have to let Nick Bosa sit on the bench. You don't need to let Fred Warner sit there and streak. Let's play the game. Let's have Trent Williams. Let's see our best players out there and see what we got to say. Because after week 1 and our starters are out there and we go out and if we blow out the Chicago Bears, then everybody that's overreacting today is going to be like, So I'm just excited for the real game, because preseason, to me, it's fun. It's great that football is back, but it's not the real deal. You're not getting the full sample. You're not getting the full taste of the menu. You're getting a few little appetizers here and there. Again, vanilla offense. You don't have half your starters out there. You take it with a grain of salt, and I'm not worried about today's loss. I'm just happy the fucking game's over. That was a miserable game. That was one of the worst games I think I've ever watched. And not just because it was preseason. That game was just, so bad. That was so bad.
Sloppy.
Yeah.
Sloppy.
Hard to believe we have so many days between now and kickoff, though, because it's like the preseason is over. But you got this 15. What is it, 15?
Yeah.
15 days.
15 days. But that's great because, you got to get everybody healthy. But hopefully there's no injuries between now and then. Hopefully Mitchell gets back on the field. That's the other thing, is Mitchell wasn't on the field. You had offensive line, troubles like that were on top of the normal concerns. There's a lot of pieces missing. It gives you a little bit of fear that if injuries strike, then what do? You have no depth you barely have the offensive line to put together to begin with. If you get injuries, then you have no depth for it. Then I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit more like Vlad, but I do believe that it's going to work out. I think it's going to be a lot smoother than people think, but it could be a thing where Trey comes out and has a shaky first half, but then fixes it by the end of the game, but we'll see.
Yeah. My man, Niner by Nature says, now our team knows how it feels to get embarrassed. They won't let this feeling come back. Yeah, you get, like Smitty said, you get this type of game out of your system early.
Yeah.
It's good to get that out. Roberto wants to know, did Jordan Poe make the run? I think he made it. I think he did enough. Honestly, if he had a bad play tonight, but literally the whole line did. So if he had one little bad hiccup here, it's not going to override the whole great offseason he's had, training camp and preseason. I think Jordan Poe has done enough to make this 53-man roster. But we're going to do a roster prediction show, most likely Sunday, maybe Saturday. Sunday or Saturday, I'm going to do a roster prediction show, and we're going to break down every single position, and I'm going to say who makes the cut, who's getting released. That's what we're going to do Sunday. If you guys want to join me, feel free to join. My man, Vlad, show us the dog, man.
This is Walter.
Walter the dog.
Walter White?
I'm on the quad box.
Heisenberg?
He just walked in out of his room.
That's a cute dog.
Yeah, he's a sweetie. He's really good.
I like him.
I take him like everywhere. I take him everywhere out with me. He's totally.
Walter
Best.
White.
Walter, what kind of dog is he?
He's a schnauzer. He's a mini schnauzer.
Nice.
Party schnauzer, they call him. That's why you get the colors.
Nice. I like it. Welcome to the quad box, Walter.
He's a good dude. If you guys
He's a
meet
good
him, he's
dog.
a good dude.
No
If
way.
we go out to California, he'll come.
Yeah, if you come, bring him down. I want to
We're
meet
trying
Walter.
to figure that out, actually.
There we go. Mateo, look at this comment. Walter knows more about football than Ray. You guys got to keep it easy. Come on, man. Don't be hating on each other. That's a funny comment. But you know what? Walter, I think he's now the official mascot for the quad box. Let's go. Let's hear it for Walter, man.
Quad box.
Oh.
Someone said you're back
He's
on
a
the
good
McDonald's Wi-Fi. You are pretty choppy, Vlad.
Oh, no. Am I?
Yeah. You
Oh,
look like you're
dying,
It's a little
too.
bad. It wasn't horrible, but it
you
wasn't
look like you're an 8-bit.
It's, you know what it is? All of it's only 720. None of it's in 1080.
Rhea says y'all are gonna look goofy in a couple of months. I'll come back. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. One of us is gonna look goofy for sure. So definitely keep the receipts both ways. I'll keep them on you. You keep them on us. Let's keep it fair. So, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
I
fun
live in
night.
Trinity.
That was a fun night. Any final thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, guys?
No, I think just calm. Everybody needs to relax, but no one's gonna. We're gonna be literally answering the same questions over and over and over. Are
For
you
the next
worried yet?
15 days.
I'm just gonna smile when people say, "Are you worried?"
Smile,
Yes.
Smitty. Yeah. Just smile.
Yeah, I just can't wait for the season to kick off, man. I can't wait.
I'm excited too. I'm excited for the regular season. Again, preseason is nice. It's fun. You get to see your players. You get to see them warm up. You get to watch a little football. You get a little taste, but it's not the real deal. If anybody was concerned about a team losing a preseason game, I'd be concerned about them because it's just preseason. Again, it's a long, long year. Sometimes teams play bad in the preseason. They're working kinks out, and then they turn it around. Look at the Niners last year. They started the entire season off on a bad foot. We didn't think they were going to even make playoffs at one point. Remember, we were sitting here like it was bad, and they turned it around. They made it to the NFC Championship. It looks like Walter and Vlad are gone for the night.
That Wi-Fi was stretching thin.
It was stretching thin. The dog ripped the Wi-Fi out of it. But yeah, I'm not worried. At the end of the day, I'm not worried. I hope nobody else is too worried. You guys need to chill. It's only preseason, man.
Yeah, people need to relax, man. They won't though. They won't. They're just gonna freak out. It's gonna be all day, bro. All day tomorrow. It's gonna be not. I'm not gonna even answer the repetitive questions. Be like, see previous comment. See previous comment.
I don't even want to look at the DMs tonight, man. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. You gonna get some rest, Smitty?
I gotta go live in a little bit.
Oh yeah, you going live soon?
Probably in a little bit, yeah.
I appreciate you for hopping on, man. We'll do these post-game recaps pretty much through the season. I appreciate you, Smitty.
Yeah, man.
Follow Smitty at the Fantasy Football Show. If you're not, please go follow, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, Raj.
Yeah.
Later, everybody.
Take care, buddy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's it for tonight. Again, it was a tough game to watch. O-line was pretty bad. Actually, not pretty bad. They were awful. Let's be honest. I'm not going to sit here and say they were any type of goodness on the offensive line. But hey, it's preseason. We move through it. You go through adversity. You learn from your mistakes. People are going to hate on Trey. It was a preseason game. I don't think he played horrible. I don't think he played great. It is what it is. We got roster cuts coming on Tuesday. We'll do a roster prediction Sunday, and then we'll talk about every single roster cut that happens on Tuesday. So you guys have a good night. Hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in on the YouTube. I know I go on Instagram, and that's where all the followers are, but I'm trying to grow the YouTube, man. So I'll be on Instagram when I can. But honestly, man, sometimes those Gram comments, they be wild, and I'm pretty sure they're a little mad at me tonight. I get a lot of hate on there. So it was nice coming into the YouTube channel. It was a little bit more calm and tame, and I appreciate you guys. Just keep it real. we can sit here and back talk. We can do a little trash talk, but keep it nice, keep it keep it fresh. Because at the end of the day, we're all Niner fans, and we all want the same thing. We all want the championship. I truly appreciate all the support out there, and I'm trying my best to give you as much content as I can. So I love you guys. Have a good night. Bang, bang. Nana gang. Y'all have a good one. I love you. Make sure you hit that like button.